Hello everybody, Razorblade Mango here, and it's that time of year again. Yes, it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is E3 season. E3 season is approaching, and I want to talk about it because E3 is something that I love and hate at the same time, but mostly I love. So, we're not going to have a guest this year for talking about the pre E3 bonanza. It's just going to be me because schedules unfortunately just did not line up with what I wanted. So, it's just you're stuck with me. I know. I'm sorry. The channel's called Razorblade Mango and you're stuck with Razorblade Mango. I'm sorry. So, here's how the format's going to go. I'm probably going to divide this video into two parts if we start going on a little lengthy. Basically, the format, it's going to be, I'll talk about whichever conference talking about. We're going to first talk about which games have been confirmed, which games I'm most likely going to be there, and some stuff I'd like to see, and also what I think of what the company should do overall. So, to kick things off, let's start with Electronic Arts, which right. So, putting aside my own subjective feelings about Electronic Arts, what have they got to show this year? They've already confirmed that the two big games that we're going to see are Battlefield 5 and Anthem. So, we have Battlefield 5 and Anthem. And Anthem, they've already been teasing it as like a story thing, which is basically going to be like, save the world kind of thing, a lot like Destiny, I assume. And Battlefield 5, they already said we're going to get our first glimpse at the multiplayer. So I assume they're going to show that last and have some kind of boring celebrity pro tournament shoutcaster thing like they've done the last couple of years with Battlefield 1 and then Battlefront 2, and now we have Battlefield 5, which I have to wonder, though, this is a little bit of a side, I have to wonder if DICE are getting tired just making war games. I wonder if they ever want to move on to something else. I don't know. I guess we'll never know because EA is just going to keep milking that fucking franchise for all it's worth, both Star Wars and Battlefield. As far as Anthem goes, look, I've made whole videos about Anthem. So I'd like to be excited for it. I'd like to, be blown away by the things that I see. But this is EA we're talking about, and EA are assholes. So I really don't have a lot of confidence in it, and I just don't really like BioWare in general. So that's my own little bias in there. As far as the games that I pretty much we're gonna see are FIFA, Madden, NHL, NBA, like the usual sports stuff, the usual boring ass sports stuff. And the only one that I care about is probably FIFA, and well, not probably, it is FIFA. I just don't want those two commentators that they had on stage last year, and I don't want an awkward, overly long comedy sketch with one of the coaches and Peter Moore or whichever one of the robot-esque CEOs are going to be up there. And as far as what I'd like to see, honestly, they don't even need a conference this year. This conference is basically just going to be like a mea culpa. And I would be very surprised if they didn't address the elephant in the room with Battlefront 2, which EA is kind of on their whole on their whole mea culpa thing right now with Battlefield 5, which I think is fucking ridiculous. And they suddenly realize oh, what we were doing was shit. Oh, we better not do that. And it's like, yeah, no shit, dude. No shit. So they could pretty much I wish they would just talk about the Respawn stuff, even though I think they're going to fuck up their Star Wars game and drive Titanfall 3 into the ground to the point where Respawn's going to be canned. I, I'm as much as I'm looking forward to the Respawn stuff. As long as EA's name is attached to it, I'm forever going to be like, maybe. Maybe some new indie stuff as well. We might get Unravel 2, maybe. Maybe some indie stuff. A Way Out was really good. I heard good things about Fee. Unravel was good. So as far as their indie stuff goes, they don't really tend to fuck those up. It's a shame that they have to fuck up their AAA games, but now they're indie games for whatever reason. They're EA originals, as they like to call them. As far as Star Wars goes, aside from Respawn, I hope we don't see a single peek at Star Wars. I am so burned out on Star Wars at this point. It was like coming from like the mediocre movies to the Battlefront 2 fiasco to the games. I'm so tired of Star Wars. Like if we skip a year without Star Wars, then I'll be happy. I'll be fine. All right. So EA, what do I want from EA? I don't know. I don't know. That's really a fair question because what I'd prefer from EA is for them to just get fucked and go away and sell all their IPs to studios that will actually, treat them properly. That's the thing that pisses me off about EA is that I think above most of the other AAA publishers out there, they do have the potential to make really great games. And they do, on paper, make really great games. But EA cannot help themselves when it comes to fucking around with games and trying to cram them, like distort them and break them into their own mold, their own like cast iron mold of what they want a game to be. A live service. Like when I saw Battlefield 5, like I was getting a little bit interested in Battlefield 5, and then I saw the whole, and they literally spelled it out on screen where they said live service. They literally said an evolving live service, and I immediately was like, nah, no thanks. I'm good. I don't need your live service when I've got Red Dead Redemption 2 coming out a week after Battlefield 5, which I think they're pulling kind of a Titanfall 2 with Battlefield 5. I think it would have been a lot wiser if they had left that for 2019, but for whatever reason, they want to go head to head against Call of Duty and Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't know what EA is thinking. I hope it bombs. I hope Battlefield 5 bombs, so EA will get a taste of their own medicine when it came to Titanfall 2 and sending that out in the cold to die. So yeah, how do I think the conference is gonna go? It's gonna go where I'm sitting there for a good, because I'm to be honest, I'm taking days off for EA from work. Like for EA for E3. Every year I do it, and this year I can't be bothered to take the day off for EA. I can't. The only reason I took it off last year was because I wanted to because I needed to drive to LA to do the Kingdom Hearts Orchestra, which this year I can't even be bothered to take a day off for EA. Like lose 8 hours of pay because of EA? Yeah, no thanks. No thank you. So EA can get fucked and get in the fucking sea for all I care. So I think their conference is going to be watchable, but the games in it will just leave me with a sense of disappointment and longing for a better future. So there you go. Moving on to Microsoft, which, right, they already confirmed that Forza Horizon 4 is going to be there, which is not a surprise at all, considering they start their conferences like almost every year with a fucking Forza game. As long as they don't start dropping cars out from ceilings again, that's... You know how much money they could save by not doing that? Like, that literally does nothing for me. That does nothing for most of the audience, probably, to see a car drop down from the ceiling. And we make fun of it every year. So save yourself the embarrassment, Microsoft, and just keep that like thousands, tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars that you spend on that. Maybe millions for all I know. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which out of all the Xbox exclusives that we know exist, that's probably the only one I have like a minute interest in. Because I thought the first Ori was okay, but this one I'm thinking, well, maybe it could be alright. They didn't show any gameplay for it last year, so we're probably going to see gameplay for it up on the stage this year. And Crackdown 3, which I don't know what is going on with Crackdown 3. That thing was announced in 2014 with a 2016 release date, and then that got delayed into 2017, and they had a set release date and everything for Crackdown 3, and then it just disappeared, and we haven't heard anything about it since last E3. We haven't heard anything about it since last E3. That's crazy to me as a game that had a set release date in November to launch alongside the Xbox One X. That's just crazy to me. That just up and vanished. I think either that game's going to be delayed into 2019 or they're just going to cancel it. Like, there's no, like, I don't know why they're trying to hang on to Crackdown 3. Like, they already canceled Scalebound. They already canceled Phantom Dust. They already canceled Fable Legends. I don't understand why, unless they're just like, they believe in it so much, which if they do, great. I'm looking forward to being interested in it, but because I like Crackdown, but after 4 years of this, I just don't care at this point. Like I said on Twitter, this is Xbox's Last Guardian, where we've seen this thing over and over and over again, and it almost feels like vaporware at this point. And we've seen things like, oh, well, people have played it, and they said it's good, and people are showing off the menu screen and everything of Crackdown 3, and Rad Brad had some off-camera footage of it that he got to watch or play or whatever. Okay, nothing from Crackdown 3, aside from maybe Gamescom 2015, has ever really impressed me. Like, I didn't think anything of Crackdown 3 last year. I thought the showing for it was fucking weak. All the footage I've seen from it looks super out of date in terms of like visual fidelity and graphics and everything, and the gameplay just does not look very good. It looks like Agents of Mayhem almost, which was already like a low rent Crackdown. So I just don't know what to make of Crackdown 3 at this point. I'm honestly just get the thing out already. For Christ's sake, Microsoft, just get it out. Now those are the things that I'm like 100% sure will be there. I'm pretty sure Halo 6 will be there, which we haven't heard about Halo since 2015, and not including Halo Wars 2, which so Halo 6, that needs to be good. That really needs to be good, because Halo 5, from what I played, was boring as all sin. The campaign was not good. The multiplayer had that the only interesting mode in the multiplayer had those fucking shit awful microtransactions in it, those pay to win microtransactions. So I hope they don't have those. They probably will, considering Microsoft has been bitten by the monetization bug. So they're probably going to have that. Gears of War 5, which I honestly like. Again, I played Gears of War, and Gears of War is like probably out of all the Xbox franchises is like my favorite one. It is, because I really like the first 3. But Gears of War 4, just when I played it, it just did nothing for me. I was just so unimpressed, particularly coming off a year where we had Uncharted 4, which I think pushed the boat out in terms of, visual storytelling, and it was so interesting, and I loved it. And like, you had 2 Xbox One exclusives that year that like tried to have their own campaigns, which was Gears of War 4 and Quantum Break, and both of them I thought were fucking dull. Just both of them, especially Quantum Break was just dull as shit on arrival. Fable is another one. We have to see Fable. Like, we have to see Fable. I don't care if it's a CGI trailer or what. Like, we have to see Fable. There has to be something that Xbox needs to do to really bring their A game this year. because like what is going on with Microsoft? Like for real, what is going on with Microsoft? This, in my opinion, is probably the worst time for the Xbox One I have ever seen. Like initially, back in the day, like 2013 and 2014, as bad as those years were, because they were like still in the process of turning around the ship when it came to how badly the Xbox One launched and the bad negative audience and critical reception it got in terms of pre-announcement. At least back then they had games you could look forward to. They had games like, ooh, Sunset Overdrive looks interesting. Ooh, we have a new Halo on the horizon. Ooh, we have a new Gears of War on the horizon. Yeah, great. That's awesome. For the Xbox One, we got things to look forward to. But now we're at this point, like 5 years into its life cycle, it's just like, where are the exclusives? Where are the games that are like system sellers? I Can you name me, honestly, besides maybe Halo 5, I will grant you Halo 5 and maybe Gears of War, but besides that, can you name me any system sellers that, you can think of? Like, I can't. Like, honestly, I can't. Forza games, they're a dime a dozen every year. Sunset Overdrive had soft sales. Quantum Break flopped. State of Decay 2 and Sea of Thieves came out and were just like early access games basically, and people were just like, "Ooh." What else was there? It's just really nothing. Oh, we had Super Lucky's Tale. That came out. That was a critical darling, right? Sales success. Oh, it wasn't? Oh. Crackdown 3 has been delayed indefinitely. Rare is fallen even further than it was before when they were making Kinect games. Just wow. Like the Microsoft landscape at this point in terms of exclusives just looks fucking bleak. It's just like, I said this last year. Like, if they really, at least last year, they were riding on the wave of, we have a new console, and I put consoles in quotations because it's basically a PS4 Pro. It's like souped up PS4 Pro, the X. At least they were riding the waves of hype when it came to that thing. And this year, it's like the pulse is just not there. I don't see anything. Like, it's, unless they come out with like enormous big guns, unless they come out and start shooting off things like Banjo-Kazooie sequel, Conquer sequel, Fable remake, reboot, whatever, like a God of War of Fable. Halo 6 comes out and looks fucking amazing. Gears of War 5 comes out and looks fucking amazing. Forza Horizon 4 comes out and looks fucking amazing. New IPs that just blow me away. That is the point of like what they need to do. Sony, and I'll talk about Sony later. Sony is just, for like maybe the third year in a row, they're spoiled for choice. Like, they really are. They are spoiled for choice. And this year, Microsoft is just even worse than last year. It's just not at that point where they can just sit there on their hands and go, we have Minecraft. We have PUBG, which, by the way, was a bad investment because now PUBG is lagging behind Fortnite, and PUBG Core is not doing any fucking favors by suing the people who licensed their engine for their game that made them a lot of money, which is not very smart. So, anyway, I've gone on long enough with Microsoft, but my final note with Microsoft is, I've said this every fucking year. I want Microsoft to succeed. I really do, because if we only have a one console monopoly in terms of the PlayStation, that's not good. And the Xbox has been doing a lot of things that put the PlayStation to shame. They have nailed native backwards compatibility, which I'm jealous that the PlayStation does not have, and Sony is so stubborn when it comes to. They are doing a great job of supporting like the really old games, which that I'm so angry that PlayStation doesn't do that. They have nailed the the Xbox Game Pass, which I'm not interested in a service, but for people that are, I don't see PlayStation doing that. They have that PlayStation Now program, which is streaming. It's not downloading, it's streaming. And that's not the same fucking thing, and I'd prefer downloading, please. Xbox controller, much better than the PlayStation's. Xbox, the accessibility controller that they just released, fantastic, amazing. I love to see stuff like that. What does PlayStation have? Oh, some of their exclusives have accessibility options, which is good, but you're not going as above and beyond the Call of Duty as Microsoft is. And I applaud Microsoft for that. Microsoft letting people play with PC players and Nintendo Switch players on things like Minecraft and Rocket League and Fortnite. It's crazy. It's just like they're doing all these things right. Like Xbox, and this is what supports my theory that Xbox is going to kick the shit out of PlayStation in the next gen, because I think PlayStation is going to really lag behind next gen. But balance of power, prove me wrong, PlayStation, but they've got everything there. Like Xbox has everything there except the games. And to me, that is the most important part. Like if you have the games, I will go to your console. Like I haven't had a Nintendo console since I borrowed the GameCube from a friend years and years and years ago. But when you put things out like Super Mario Odyssey and Super Smash Brothers and Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee and Breath of the Wild and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, like I'm going to buy a Switch, and I bought a Switch, and I've been enjoying the hell out of it these last 8 months. I love that fucking console. PlayStation, you've got like some of my all-time favorite franchises with them. But Xbox at this point they desperately need masterpieces. They need things that are just gonna blow people the fuck away. And the problem is they're so focused on like monetization with their games. They're so focused on live services at this point that it's just not working out for them at fucking all. It's not there. So anyway, that was Microsoft. I think the conference will be okay. I'm really not expecting much with Microsoft, but I hope they blow me the fuck away. I really do. I really hope they do. Moving on to Bethesda. I'm glad I waited a little bit to do this one, because Bethesda has announced some stuff two things specifically, that are going to be at their conference. And the first one that they announced was Rage 2. So we are 100% guaranteed that that's going to be there. I did not like the first Rage. I thought it was boring, and just the ending was terrible, and even they agree that the ending was terrible. So, but I am legit looking forward to Rage 2, because I like even though I don't like that Avalanche is working on it, because I don't really like Avalanche, and I did not like their Mad Max game at all. I didn't even like Just Cause 3. I thought both of them were just borderline bad. I'm a little nervous that they're involved, but so far the footage that I've seen has been pretty interesting. It's gotten my attention with like this really crazy, colorful, punkish Mad Max thing that they're doing now. It's like a complete change in style and color palette and tone from the last Rage, which I'm pretty happy with, honestly. I'm looking forward to seeing more from Rage 2. The other one that they announced like a week or two after Rage 2 was Fallout 76, which the more I hear about it from places like Kotaku and specifically Jason Schreier, the less interested I become. I am not opposed to something like a Fallout MMO, which that has been rumored to be in the works for many years. So I think it's finally going to happen with Fallout 76, but it's not my cup of tea. When I play a Fallout game, I want it to just be a strictly single-player experience. And if this is Bethesda Game Studios doing this, especially when they've got their outdated as shit creation engine, I really don't like the sound of what I'm hearing from it. Like, I don't trust Bethesda when it comes to creating a seamless online multiplayer experience, which they couldn't even do Fallout 4 correctly with, like, you know, patching that and their bugs and everything. And Skyrim Remastered is just, that's embarrassing. Skyrim Remastered, as far as I'm concerned, is fucking embarrassing when it comes to, like, the most, like, pathetic bare minimum effort for remastering a game. I love Skyrim, but fuck Bethesda for releasing that with still, like, day one game breaking glitches and bugs. It's pathetic what they do with their stuff, especially their game studio stuff. Which that's ugh. So we're guaranteed to see Fallout 76, and we're guaranteed to see Rage 2 there. I think Doom 2 is going to be there, and that's honestly like the thing that I'm looking forward to the most. A potential Doom 2. The first Doom is a masterpiece. It's one of my all-time favorite first-person shooters, and I am ecstatic to see a second one, especially if it is doing it again and it's the same people behind the first Doom. I'm all for it. They don't even need to really change much. All they need to do is just make more Doom, make it more like the first one that came out in 2016. I'll love the shit out of it. I'll sing its praises to high heaven like I did for months before it came out. So there's that. There's been a long rumor that Starfield is going to be announced, which is the supposedly long in development new IP from Bethesda Game Studios. And for people that are like, well, they're already doing Fallout 76, what can they do? Well, Fallout 76 seems to be a collaboration between two different studios. It probably is like a B team that's inside of Bethesda Game Studios working from their office in Maryland, and I think they have another one in Austin, Texas, as what I believe I've heard. So it's a collaboration between maybe like B teams at Bethesda, which, God, if their A team can't even do Fallout 4 properly, I don't want to imagine what their B team can do. But Starfield could be interesting. I think that might be the one that Todd Howard's working on, you know, mainly aside from Fallout 76. So really not a lot with Bethesda. I'm glad they're not doing it at a ungodly hour like they did last year, which I don't know what the hell happened with that, where they were like, oh, we're doing it at 6:30, and then they delayed it to 9:30, and I was like, what the fuck? And they only had like a 40-minute show with like mostly underwhelming stuff and a cool look at Evil Within 2 and Wolfenstein 2 at the end. That's really about it. Here's my thing with Bethesda. I admire a lot of what Bethesda does. I admire that they still are pushing out single-player only games. I respect the hell out of that. I respect the hell out that they are defiant in the face of an overwhelmingly live service-based landscape when it comes to the AAA gaming industry. They are defiantly like, no, fuck you. And Fallout 76 might be their first, like, dipping their toe in the water of live services, and maybe put in microtransactions, which would make me really disgusted with them. But right now, before we hear anything in E3, I will applaud them that they have done a good job of keeping their like free-to-play tendencies with things like Fallout Shelter and Quake Champions. They're keeping that out of their AAA games. Like, no microtransactions in Wolfenstein 2, Prey, Evil Within 2, Doom, particularly Doom with the multiplayer, which I was very impressed with, even though it had a season pass. And Fallout 4, even though Creation Club is shit, they've done a really good job. But my problem with them is I think they really shoot themselves in the foot when it comes to releasing stuff. I think their problem is that they are bad at setting realistic dates for their games and like sending them out to die almost. Like, if I was in charge of Bethesda or ZeniMax or whatever, I would fire the person that decided to release Wolfenstein 2 alongside Assassin's Creed Origins and Super Mario Odyssey on like an already crowded day, and you're sending out a single player only narrative linear based like controversial game against like the greatest video game mascot of all time, and Assassin's Creed, a super blockbuster franchise. Like, it's just so dumb. Evil Within 2, they released that at a bad time with an October, November, and September, October, November art. Unless you are a big name game, like, don't even fucking bother. Just wait until next year. Give your team more time to develop it. Don't try to rush it out for the holiday season. And that's what Bethesda has done, unfortunately, like last year. And they're mostly like a spring company. Like, releasing Doom in May was a smart choice. Releasing Prey, even though Prey sucked, releasing Prey in May was a smart choice. So Bethesda is a spring company, and unless you're called Fallout or Elder Scrolls, don't even bother, Bethesda. Like, just don't. And from what I understand, neither Fallout 76 nor Rage are going to come out in 2018, which is good. Those are games that need to be coming out in the spring or in the summer, when there's like a weird summer drought with video games. It's odd. It's always odd every year that summer is the drought. Even though with summer being the time for when like kids are out of school, I would assume companies would jump at the chance to release a ton of stuff during the summer, but I guess they just don't. So they're a summer and spring company. They're not a fall company, is what I'm trying to get at. So what do I think Bethesda's is going to be? I think Bethesda's is going to be okay, mixed with some stuff that I probably will find interesting, but again, low expectations for them this year. Moving on to, and I'm probably going to split this into two parts. So moving on to Square Enix, which the things that I'm pretty sure are going to be there. Kingdom Hearts 3. They already confirmed that that's going to be playable at E3 this year, which is fucking surreal in my opinion. And we're most likely going to get the release date either during their orchestra that they're having that Saturday before E3, or they're going to have it at their actual like pre-recorded thing, which that's the only reason I'm watching it. Just to see Kingdom Hearts 3, obviously. Like, I could go on and on and on about Kingdom Hearts 3, but all I want is just give me a release date so I can shut my brain off and not be overexposed to all their marketing like they do for every single one of their main titles. Like, it's ridiculous how much they spoil their games. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is another one. Don't care. Especially it coming out around the same time as Spider-Man and Spyro. Don't care. Possibly Super Smash Bros. 2. Don't give a shit. As far as what they haven't confirmed, I think that we're going to get a glimpse of their Marvel games this year. I know they're working on, an Avengers game with Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal, and they're working on a Guardians of the Galaxy game, which, again, I'm pretty burned out on Marvel as well, speaking of Disney, but I'm not particularly interested in those games. Now, the games that I am interested in seeing are Dragon Quest XI, which unfortunately is coming out around the same time as Spider-Man, so that will not be picked up by me thanks to Spider-Man, even though I really want to get Dragon Quest XI. I'll probably just wait for it on sale now, or wait for the Switch version. Dragon Quest Builders 2. I fucking love Dragon Quest Builders. Like, it's one of Square Enix's best games, like, they've released in ages. And it's this, like, on paper, it's this, like, shitty little Minecraft clone, but it's fucking fantastic. Like, if you guys haven't played Dragon Quest Builders yet, do yourself a favor and go check it out. It's fucking great. Like, if you couldn't get into Minecraft, or if you absolutely can't stand Minecraft, this is still a game for you. It's basically Minecraft, but with a really good story and structure, and it's so good. I love Dragon Quest Builders, and I'm so excited to see a Dragon Quest Builders 2. I will buy that day one. Like, that will be a day one buy for me, 100%. World Ends With You Final Remix. We haven't heard anything about that since the January Nintendo Direct Mini. And I'm hoping we get more during either Nintendo's thing or Square Enix's thing. It's most likely going to be a Nintendo's thing, but I want a release date and I want to play it because I really like World Ends With You, and I hope a lot of people buy it so we finally get that World Ends With You sequel that I've wanted ever since I was in high school. I forget it's got new content in it too. So it's kind of like a Birth by Sleep Point 2 situation, except it's called, Remix. It's so bizarre how Square Enix does that sometimes, where they'll show things as like a little tease at the end of a re-release of their game, and then they'll put it in a completely different game or a remaster of the same game. It's so bizarre what Square Enix does. The elephant in the room, Final Fantasy VII Remake. We're not going to see that this year. I'm going to kill that hope right in the fucking cradle. No. Do not expect Final Fantasy VII Remake at all. Just don't do it. Just don't expect to see Final Fantasy VII Remake ever, and you'll be a lot happier. Because Square Enix is completely, like, there are publishers that I despise more than Square Enix. I don't like any publisher aside from maybe like ones I can count the amount of publishers I respect on like one hand. But Square Enix, out of all of them, like, I think EA is the most vindictive. EA is the dumb. EA is the most stupid. Activision is the most cynical, the most greedy. Ubisoft is the most boring. Warner Brothers is like the most. I think Warner Brothers, EA, and Activision are like tied as like the greediest publisher out there. Ubisoft is the most boring, the most bland, the most generic. And then you've got Square Enix, who I think is the most incompetent. Like, that's the thing. That's a similar situation with like Warner Brothers and EA. They make games that I can really like, that I can really love, but they constantly just fuck with them and destroy my excitement of them to no end. And that's Square Enix. Just, they're so incompetent that I just don't expect Final Fantasy VII Remake to be there at all. You'll be a lot happier. Just Cause 4 got leaked by Walmart Canada, and considering three of those leaks have already been confirmed and they're out in the wild, along with like the new Assassin's Creed, which I'll get to in the next video. But I'm pretty sure we're going to see Just Cause 4 from Square Enix, or at least it's in development, and Walmart Canada knows something that we don't, and they fucked up, which I find hilarious. So I think Square Enix is going to be boring, mixed with my fanboying out of Kingdom Hearts 3. And that's really about it. So there you go. That's part 1 of the pre-E3 season phenomena. The pandemonium. So anyway, next time it will be Ubisoft, Sony, and Nintendo under the microscope. Under the microscope. I woke up really early today, so my brain is still not functioning properly. So there you go. Alrighty. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.